Do, 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 do. Greetings. How are you doing this fine weekend? Tomorrow is a U.S. holiday. I'd like to take tomorrow off, if at all possible. Most people don't realize that I actually do work 7 days a week, and sometimes it gets to be a little bit too much. I'm sure most of you, and if you're not, then you're really an outlier, feel the same way as me on this. And I've most of my life debated topics, and most Americans and Europeans, and definitely British and Australians, are extremely confused about the word debate. Most everybody out there suffers from the horrible delusion that debate means an argument, where people are going rah, 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 rah. And that's not what a debate is. Absolutely not what a debate is. The ancient form of entertainment, and of course there were many types. I'm not talking about the Roman Colosseum, which of course was one type, and that's not really ancient, is there would be traveling philosophers, true metaphysicians actually. But philosophia is the love of wisdom, and that of course is what a true metaphysician is. And we're talking about the original definition of philosophia, not its current connotation, which includes nonsense like Schelling, Nietzsche, Kant, Hume. These are not actual philosophers. I call them navel gazers. People that actually are, plucking around at the belly button lint that they have. These are not philosophers. The ancient form of entertainment is where traveling philosophers and metaphysicians would debate others. And the locals would gather together, and it would basically be like a movie, except without the popcorn. And people's minds would be elevated, and it would be incredibly apparent, even if you were totally uneducated, which most people were back then, and totally illiterate, which most people were. You knew by nature of common sense that every human being is born with. Today, people don't have common sense because it's squeezed out of them. Yeah, people are born with common sense, and then they squeeze it out of you. Specifically, if you go to like public schools, they don't have any common sense anymore. You have highly educated people with no common sense at all. So, the uneducated masses, by virtue of their common sense, would see you, who had a firm grip on reality, who was logical, consistent, and who wasn't. So people can't stand debate anymore, and it's really, really bad that things have gotten so bad in the world that everybody is really at odds with nature. People in ancient times, I'm not saying it was idyllic, of course it definitely was not. We got Caligula and Nero and countless other evil conquerors that have done incredibly horrific things throughout history, but by and large people lived in accord with nature, and now everybody thinks that they can supplant their own belief systems against that of natural law. Natural law is something that anybody could spit at and try to fight, but it's like spitting at the moon. You're never going to accomplish anything, and the moon will remain consistent. So people have no recourse against natural law and the flow of nature. You can have all the beliefs that you want, but you're not allowed to have your own truth. Nobody is allowed that. Nature's truth cannot be supplanted with lives and beliefs and all forms of, crazy zealotry. It just can't. It will never stand the test of time. Nothing is really guaranteed in life, but death, taxes, and suffering. That's all anybody is guaranteed, whether you be rich or poor. That's a lot of the rich people do get out of having to pay their taxes, though. But at least suffering and death, no one's allowed out of that. But the society, and it's most societies, specifically Western societies, basically every European society, the UK, Canada, The United States, Australia, New Zealand, most of the world, honestly, is they're really, you cannot have a hatred for truth and the society survive. It's completely 100% impossible. And I'm not a doom and gloom person. I'm absolutely not that way at all. Society today, unfortunately, is on life support big time. It has really gotten so bad that you can't debate or discuss anything anymore because everybody's living inside their own echo chamber, their own little nutshell, and they're literally sniffing their own flatulence. I'm going to use the word flatulence. That's what people are doing. They're living in their own little nutshell and echo chamber, sniffing their own flatulence. I know that's kind of funny, but I mean, it's really very true. Here's a prime example, and of course, social media is an epicenter for so much anti-natural law. It's not even funny. There was an Instagram page that I saw, and I absolutely do not like Instagram. I consider it to be the epicenter of a great deal of evil. Of course, we all know who owns the Instagram page, so let's not get into that. We all know who owns it. But the only thing this page posted was stories about very young people who died from the magic juice. Let's use the words magic juice. That's all they did. They say so-and-so, date of birth, and this is what happened. And I watched it, and I'm not interested in taking any sides or discussing that for obvious reasons. We don't need to discuss that. The reason why we can't discuss it is because there's no freedom online. Online freedom does not exist. You know it, and I know it. If you don't believe it, then there's really something wrong with you. And as soon as I saw that, it's like, well, there's a great page. Scrolling through it, and it's like, I wonder how many weeks it will be before this page gets deleted. Of course, gone. Just like it's like a fart in the wind. It was gone. I mean, I knew that would be the case. You cannot. I think it's an ancient Chinese saying. It was not Socrates that said it. It's an ancient Chinese saying. It says, there's only two things that could be hidden for so long. And meaning not very long. Three things that only be hidden for such a short period of time. The sun, the moon, in the case of clouds and weather. The sun, the moon, and the truth. Natural law will not allow it to happen. You could pull the rubber band back and keep pulling it, but it takes effort to keep it pulled back. If you pull it back, it snaps, and you can't keep it held back because the rubber band will either weaken and snap on its own, or you will run out of energy trying to keep it pulled back. In other words, trying to violate natural law. Nobody on social media talks about natural law. Natural law is incredibly important. I mean, it really is. You align yourself with the one and the nature of the one. And of course, like I said, everybody suffers and dies. You either align yourself with it, or, you'll let you fill in the rest of those words. I'm all for, the termination of any spread of anger towards others. I get plenty of it myself. I mean, people spew all sorts of vile stuff at me all the time. I don't really care. I've been through so much in life. You're not going to say anything that's going to faze me. You're just not. But now the problem is, and I'm perfectly fine with, getting rid of, just people just spewing the worst, most vile filth imaginable. I'm all for that. I always have been. Most people really are. But I don't care what somebody says. But now the problem is, and this is a serious problem, once again, this is a violation of natural law. People say, where is natural law written? It's not written in the sky and the clouds. It's not written in any piece of paper from human beings. Like, you're right, it's not. Natural law is the subliminal thread that holds all of the universe together, and you're not allowed to violate it. You can for a little period of time. You can't break it, and you can only violate it for a short period of time. I know what is ultimately short might seem to you very long, but nobody can violate it for very long. But the problem now is, the super serious problem, is that people think that being honest and truthful, is now, you know, extremism or extreme wickedness. Of course, wickedness is the right word. Like you're spreading, you're spreading hate and filth and muck. And it's like, no, I'm giving you facts, logic, and wisdom, and I'm saying what is in accord with natural law. And that's what people think. And no society can run like that for very long. That is a self-imploding society. It always has been, it always will be, it always will remain to be so, because I can guarantee you that none of you were taught in any of your religions. I don't care which religion it is, and I want nothing to do with religions. You're not taught in any religion, you're not taught in high school or college or anywhere else anything about natural law. Natural law is incredibly important. And you weren't taught about it. I wasn't taught about it, but I had the wisdom and the wherewithal to know. These ancient guys, Plotinus, Proclus, Numenius, Syrianus, Iamblichus, Porphyry, on and on and on. There's a list of great, wise thinkers. They took it incredibly important, and they talked about it a great deal. These are people way, way more intelligent and, most importantly, more wise than anybody that taught you or anything that you read. I can guarantee you that. That's why I get so many people thanking me. Like, oh, thank you, I never heard of De Divina Proportione or Theoria Philosophiae Naturalis by Roger Boskevich, or, reading the works of Syrianus and the works of Plotinus, or Algus Udavinis, or on and on and on. Oh man, this has really lifted my life up in a subliminal, noetic fashion. It hasn't elevated my bank account, it hasn't made me, but it has raised me up. I use the word spiritual. It doesn't really mean anything when I say spiritual. Raised me up, in the good way. Thank you so much for recommending those books. I still don't know why people ask me to recommend books. I've got so many videos recommending good books, but anyway. And I can't stand politics. I never discuss politics, but people that have, most of them, not all of them, because there have been some really wackadoodle generals and some other people, but no one would be allowed to be a servant, whether it be Congress or higher office, unless they served 6 years in the military. You would actually eliminate a lot of these people. Some of these people were born, living in a mansion, and the biggest worry in their life is whether to eat pie or cake for dessert that day. I won't mention any particular individuals of an elderly persuasion that live in San Francisco or New York or other places, but you could guess who those are. These people are totally out of touch with reality, which makes them totally out of touch with natural law, and therefore out of touch with the average human being, that for the most part, not totally of course, but for the most part, obey natural law. They love their wife and their kids. They work hard. They believe in a hard day's work and a good day's pay. Not being taxed to death. Leading a simple life of having friends and family and relatives and, wife and kids, little dog, the pet, and, that is natural law. If you don't agree with it, I don't care. You're wrong. You just are. I don't care. I don't agree with you. Well, who cares? You're still wrong. These people will wreck you and ban you in a heartbeat for telling the truth. They're not truth seekers. They're not one of them. I myself, through extreme consideration, avoid at all costs people that are not truth seekers. Nobody is right about all things. If I've made a mistake on mentioning something about palladium versus platinum on catalytic converters, which is a recent mistake that I made, it's like, you're right, I did make a mistake on that. However, it used to be platinum, and now I think it is palladium, and palladium is really expensive. You have to be a truth seeker. It's like, did I make a mistake on that, or did I say something that was, if it can't be verifiably, empirically proven, then it has to be logical, wise, and consistent as pertains to metaphysics and philosophy and so forth. It has to be retroductively true. Not everything can be proven through obvious empirical means, especially when it pertains to metaphysics and philosophy. It is the uncultured and unsharp, i.e. dull-witted mind that thinks that metaphysics and philosophy is like some sort of harebrained illogical whackery. And of course, if you go to the metaphysics section of a bookstore, that's all you'll find. Stuff of which I don't approve of any of it, because it's not true metaphysics at all. It's New Age gobbledygook, nonsense, poppycock. Use what word you will. But no society that hates truth so much can survive very long. Such society is always on life support. It is really terminal. I hate to say that. I'm not a doomsayer, but it's terminal. It is undeniably terminal. You cannot be not only someone who doesn't admire, cherish, or love natural law, natural order, not only be ignorant of it, but completely oppose it when it's blatantly stated. You can't. You can't cheat Mother Nature, as the old saying goes. You can't violate it. You can't hide the sun, the moon, and the truth, as the Chinese ancient saying goes. Living in an echo chamber or a little nutshell, sniffing your own flatulence, that doesn't last. It doesn't work. You're literally violating natural law. And I don't care what anybody believes in. I don't ever tell anybody what to believe. I'm not like that. That's what a zealot is. The truth and wisdom is always its own reward. Always has been, always will be. That is the glowing effulgence that is completely uncomparable. As the ancient Pali words go, paramam sukham, meaning ultimate bliss. It's completely indescribable. It is its own reward. People that try to make other people believe stuff, these people are, let's use the word demonic. They are by definition. So I don't care what anybody believes. That's none of my business, nor do I care. People are weak, and they don't want to know. They will fight you tooth and nail to keep from hearing what is true. It's like, well, that's your truth. It's like, no, you're allowed your own beliefs, but you're not allowed your own facts, logic, and wisdom. Nobody is allowed that, not whether you're rich or poor, wise or ignorant. Nobody is allowed that. In these times, above all, I have to give you a warning, and you really need to look this word up, and I've made a video about it, Baudelarization. You need to watch and look and see with all your senses and all your portals, your ears, your eyes, and your common sense, if you have any, hopefully. That which they don't want you to know, that which they don't want you to talk about, and that which they don't want you to see. Look up the word Baudelarization. There has never been a time in history where Baudelarization, what it is, why it is so important. Okay? Nothing will get you canceled. I am, and I have to make this statement, and you know I'm telling the truth. I am embarrassed. I got 6,700 videos on the tube, and I'm always emailing people, but I am embarrassed to a certain extent to be on La Media Sociale. Yeah? Yeah. Let me translate that from the English, right? La Media Sociale. It's embarrassing because it's... there's plenty of great people out there. I meet you, you meet me, so on and so forth. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it's all bad, of course. But it is embarrassing, and it is an extreme tax on my soul. I've had plenty of suffering in life. I've been through a lot, taking care of my wife dying of cancer from 10 years. I've seen enough hell to last a few lifetimes. I've seen enough of it. I lead a simple life. I make my fingers hurt making leather goods to sell to people. I don't feel bad about it. I've said for years I don't sell stuff to people, but I'm definitely not going to be made to feel bad by anybody. For working hard with my hands, both cutting with, I have to cut with my hands, I don't have an automatic cutting machine. And sewing with these obnoxiously expensive leather sewing machine, I'm not going to feel bad about that. I lead a simple life. I really do. It seems like it's really complicated. I got like 6 computers, and I also, too, make myself ill. I obviously eat too much. I sit behind the computer too much. I used to be super skinny, as my earliest videos show. Now I'm fat. Now I'm older. I'm 48 years old. Don't drink. I don't smoke. Don't do drugs. Never had. I wish to God people would stop asking me about XYZ drug on live. I don't do that. I never have. Don't ask me that. I must think I do that because I have tattoos. Well, I don't. I shouldn't be drinking caffeine, but it gives me a kick and a bit of an energy. I'm not going to be made to feel bad about caffeine. And I find it extremely grotesque that anybody compares a cup of coffee to, you know, like some sort of illegal substance. I find that disgusting and awful, which it is disgusting and awful to make that comparison. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But society is on life support. I lived in Russia for quite a long time. I am no supporter of that type of system, and those are the words I'm going to use. But you don't see this nonsense coming out of the Russians. I mean, I'm going to speak some Russian words. Nastoящие крепкие народы, eh? Also to Ukrainians. Love Ukrainians. For some reason they like me. I don't know why. I've been to Ukraine once. I wished I got to see more of it. Got to see Yalta, Simferopol. I had a chance to fly to Pripyat near Chernobyl. I didn't take that chance. I had a chance to take it. I wished I did. Yeah, I would have liked to actually visit Chernobyl. I'm not afraid of the rads there. It's not like I was going to live there or pitch a tent there or nothing. I have a lot of favoritism towards Russians and Serbians and Ukrainians and like the people up in the hills of Kentucky. Like a lot of you may or may not, you know, make fun of some of the people up in the, you'll talk about them playing banjos and other silly nonsense like that. I've never seen anybody play a banjo in my life in Kentucky. These people, whether they be illiterate, you know, not highly intelligent, I don't care. At least they're real and they have their heads screwed on straight, which is a heck of a lot more than I could say from most people up in New York, L.A., Atlanta, Chicago. You could hate me for saying that. I don't care. They have their heads screwed on straight. You know, they lead a simple life. They work hard, make ends meet barely. A lot of them are depressed because they can't, you know, do it. I mean, like me. I mean, I'm obviously not starving, but I mean, damn, I can't take a real vacation. I'm tired of working 7 days a week. I don't know how, honestly, you people out there make it. I mean, you have house payment and car payment. I don't have a house payment or a car payment. And I still have to struggle to make the friggin' ends meet. It's house insurance, car insurance, property taxes, regular taxes, gas, water, electric. It's just unending. The reason why I'm selling my second car is so I could eliminate out some car insurance and, you know, bills and gas bills associated with it. I don't need to have 2 cars. I'm trying to streamline my life. I recently sold like a dozen lenses and 2 cameras in the past 48 hours. You know, if I were supposedly riding on the money like many of you people think I am or whatever, I wouldn't have done that. But anyway, society is really up a creek without a paddle on refutation of natural law. Tell me what you think. I read every comment. People sometimes don't believe me. It's like, I'm not going to read this comment. I bet you're not going to. Like, yeah, I am. I always read every comment. If you like these videos, these 6,700 plus videos that I like, any donation is always warmly welcome. I'm a simple person. You can tell me how much you hate me, whatever, it's not going to faze me. I get all sorts of emails, whether they be strange or hateful, whatever, you know? I've been through enough and seen enough in life that you're not going to faze me, you know? I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of really anything. I do get stressed out from working every day. I'm going to take tomorrow off, though, because tomorrow is an American holiday, and I'm going to try to take tomorrow off. But I swear to you, by all that's holy, every time I try to take a day off, something bad happens. I don't know what it is, but something bad is going to happen tomorrow. May not be major, but it'll be like, oh God, it ruined the whole day. I don't know what it is, but I guarantee you it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not joking when I say that. Thank you so much for watching. Lux Evertus.